All right, let's talk about something incredible happening inside your body right now. We're going to dive into your bloodstream to meet a part of your immune system you might not even know you have. Think of it like a secret army, a powerful and precise task force just waiting in the shadows for the signal to strike.
So picture this. A hostile bacteria has just broken through your body's defenses. Immediately, your elite soldiers, the antibodies, rush to the scene. They start latching onto the invader, tagging it for destruction. But here's the problem. They're outnumbered. They need to call in the heavy artillery, and fast. How in the world do they do that?
Well, the backup they call for is this amazing group of proteins. And they're not just another unit showing up to the fight. They are a true force multiplier.
They're called the complement system. And that name, it's absolutely perfect because their whole job is to complement, to help, to augment the work the antibodies are already doing. They don't replace them. They make them way, way more effective at taking out the enemy.
And listen, we're not talking about just one or two little helper proteins here. This is a complex, sophisticated team of over 20 different types of proteins, all just floating around in your blood, each one with a super specific job to do in this perfectly orchestrated chain of events.
So where does this protein army even come from? Well, the main factory is your liver. It's constantly pumping these proteins out. But other immune cells, like the macrophages that clean up cellular debris, they chip in too. And here's a cool little bit of trivia for you. There's one specific protein in the system that's made primarily in the lining of your gut.
Okay, so wait a second. If you have this powerful 20-plus member army of proteins circulating in your blood all the time, why isn't it just constantly causing chaos? Why isn't it attacking everything it sees?
I mean, you have to ask, right? Because an immune system that's always in attack mode would be a complete disaster. It would cause unbelievable damage to your own healthy tissues. So is this system just always switched on?
And the answer to that is a big, resounding, and very important no. They're not active. They're actually in a dormant state. They're like a sleeping army, just circulating harmlessly, waiting for a very, very specific wake-up call.
The technical term for this is a proenzyme, but an easier way to think about it is like a weapon with the safety on. Each and every one of these proteins is switched off. It literally cannot do its job until it gets a direct command, and that inactivity, that's the key to the whole thing. It's what prevents any accidental friendly fire.
So what is that signal? What's the secret password, the secret handshake that wakes up this sleeping army and, just as importantly, tells it exactly where to go and who to attack?
The way it gets activated is it's an elegant and beautiful chain reaction. So step 1, an invader gets in. Step 2, an antibody grabs onto it. But the magic, the really crucial moment, is step 3. The very act of binding to the enemy forces the antibody to physically change its shape. It transforms. And that transformation exposes a previously hidden docking site, basically raising a secret signal flag on its tail.
This is the absolute genius of the system. The antibody itself becomes the signal flare. It's only when it is physically attached to an enemy that it changes shape and unfurls that big "activate here" sign for the complement system to finally see.
But it gets even more specific, even more controlled than that. See, not every antibody out there even has the key to start this engine. Let's take a look at which specific antibodies are actually licensed to activate this powerful cascade.
And right here, this is where it gets even more precise. So you've got 5 main classes of antibodies, right? Well, only 2 of them hold the key, IgM and IgG. And this makes perfect sense, because these are your main responders to infections in the bloodstream. The other types, which might be busy dealing with things in your gut or fighting allergies, they don't get to call in this particular backup. It's just another brilliant layer of control.
So why? Why all this complexity? Why have the sleeping state, the whole shape-changing thing, and only specific antibody keys? Well, it all boils down to one absolutely critical concept for keeping you healthy: precision.
This entire elaborate process exists to make sure that the immense destructive power of the complement system is unleashed with surgical accuracy. It doesn't just activate randomly in your blood, it's triggered directly on the surface of the bacteria that the antibody has already tagged. This is what prevents the system from turning on your own healthy cells that are right next to it.
That built-in safety mechanism is absolutely vital. It's the difference between a targeted missile strike and just chaos. And that, of course, leaves us with one final, pretty sobering question to think about. What do you think happens when this elegant system of precision goes wrong? What are the consequences when the complement army wakes up at the wrong time or in the wrong place?